Fire Station on Tuesday, April 30th at 6 p.m. in the evening, then and there to act on the following articles to wit. Article 1, to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. Do you have any nominations? Paul Davis. Any other nominations? Okay, nominations cease. Can I have 3 ballots cast, please?
Is Terry here? Yes, he's usually always jumping up and down. Uh-oh. Is that good or bad? It'll stop. I think it's just quite dry. That could be bad. My roommate from college is here.
Yeah.
Well, she's supposed to be. She's coming.
Your roommate?
She will be here. From college. She's visiting.
I got married when I was in college.
So did I, actually. My last year. In between my junior and senior.
I went to 2-year college, so mine took. You teased Tracy about that. You're a freshman, you're almost a senior now.
And Paul Davis.
Yeah, he is. David Ray. Yep. So I'm just like,
That's all the committees.
Wow, congratulations.
Good evening, everybody.
Congratulations.
Well, we're all wondering why we're gathered here tonight. Let's stand and say the pledge of allegiance to the flag of the country we all love.
I forgot the invocation.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
here. Pastor David Ray, are you here?
Just going to offer up a prayer to the Lord for wisdom tonight and guidance. The psalm that tells us the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So let's just bow our heads in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we're here this evening, and we're going to be conducting business here in the town of Sangerville. And so we need your wisdom and your guidance. And we ask that you give that to us tonight, and that we can work through issues and come to a good conclusion here at the end of the meeting. May you be with us. May your peace be here and your guidance. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Article 2, to adopt the Maine Moderator's Manual published by the Maine Municipal Association as the authority on the rules and procedures to conduct it. It says the annual town meeting, but it should say special. Can we have a motion on this?
Oops.
We have a motion to accept the articles. I read it. Do we have a second? Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hands. All those opposed, raise your hands. Opposed. Article 3, to ascertain if non-resident speakers are present and whether or not inhabitants wish to call upon them to be heard. Are there any non-resident speakers? Are there any?
non-resident?
Any?
Yeah. You got all
Anyone
right?
else? Is there any others?
What about all of
Then
them?
we need to have a motion to allow non-residents to speak. We have a motion to accept the article. Do we have a second? Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Article 4. Do you favor the merger of Hospital Administrative District Number 4, which is served by Mayo Regional Hospital, with Northern Light Health, a Maine non-profit corporation, in accordance with the agreement and plan of merger between Hospital Administrative District Number 4 and Northern Light Health, dated February 27, 2019, and amending the Hospital Administrative District Number 4 charter in order to facilitate the completion of the merger. Excuse me. Merger.
What do you say, murder?
Do we have a motion? We have a motion to accept it. Do we have a second? Second. Discussion. Who would like to speak? No, I'm not quite done. I could tell you a bit, and perhaps Representative Higgins is here, or you don't want to speak? Representative Stern, Jahir, would you like to explain the process that we've been through to get here tonight?
Very briefly.
Nah, he's never.
I don't think I'll need it.
Yes, well, they can't hear you on that.
Can you hear me?
All
They will. I'll use soccer coaching voice. From a legislator's point of view, we were approached in November by the HAD board saying that they had agreed to a merger, not unanimously, but 15-3, or at least agreed to proceed with a merger. So at that point, we started to look at that and looked at one of the hang-ups was a piece of the charter that says it didn't fit this merger. It said, the language was that for the HAD to dissolve or a dissolution of the HAD, that would require every town to vote in the affirmative to do so. And in that same paragraph, it also said that all the assets from the HAD, which remember is more than just the hospital, all the assets would have to return to the towns after all the bills were paid, and the formula for doing that would be by the valuation of the towns. So that didn't fit this situation, because in this situation the assets are going to be turned over and moved forward to another agency, to another operator, if you will. So at that point, we deliberated as legislators. There are 5 representatives and 1 senator that represent the towns involved in the HAD. And we felt as a group that this did rise to the level where it was a little beyond the appointed board of directors. This should go to the citizens. And that's what has led us to 4 informational meetings held in different spots in the HAD, and up 12 different votes, and the 13th vote is tonight. So that's the procedure that it's kind of like sausage making, they say in Augusta. It hasn't exactly been pretty, but as we've worked through it, we've done our best to make sure the citizens have a vote and the information they need in order to move forward with whatever direction they want to take with the hospital, with HAD 4.
Thank you, sir.
That was brief, Senator.
Who would like to speak? Yes.
Could I talk to the senator? Where you go?
Then address me, please. Address me. You can talk to them. Address the moderator.
Can you explain the whole picture where Health Team out of Knoxville, Tennessee actually controls Northern Light?
I cannot. Maybe somebody from the hospital. There's a bunch here. Dr. McDermott.
Thank you, Senator. Dr. David McDermott. I've been a family physician here in Piscataquis County for the last 26 years. Team Health is a national physician staffing organization that has been brought in to 4 of the 9 Northern Light hospitals to help them with staffing in their emergency department and their hospitalist programs. Another 4 hospitals that have emergency departments and hospitalist programs still retain the employment of the physicians doing those specialties. The 4 hospitals where Team Health was hired are hospitals that have struggled to find physicians to come and work in their environments, to work in their emergency department, to work in their hospitalist service. And they've been spending a lot of money, essentially twice what you pay a normal physician, to cover them with what we call locum tenens physicians. We've run into some of those locums expenses on our own services here. So Team Health is not taking over Northern Light Health. Northern Light Health is still headquartered in Brewer, and all of their decisions are made here in northern and eastern Maine. Team Health is a tiny component to help them staff a couple of their hospitals where they were struggling to staff them in an affordable basis. And again, it's only a couple of disciplines in those hospitals.
It's still in part. I gotta talk to you.
Ask your
Okay. Okay, I realize that they're it's like a temp service where they're putting doctors. But can we guarantee our doctors are not gonna lose their jobs? Our nurses are not gonna lose their jobs?
They will continue to have employment with us. What Northern Light has explained to us is that the model they have with Team Health is one that they have offered to their hospitals that have struggled to adequately staff those services. We tried to staff our hospitalist service with a different national agency called Sound Physicians about 5 years ago. We worked with them for 3 years. It didn't work for us. We went back to hiring our own doctors and have been able to staff the service well since then. So we would only turn to Team Health if we were also, like some of these other hospitals, struggling to find physicians in those categories. We have been told very clearly and consistently by Northern Light leadership on both their medical side, their practice side, as well as their administrative team, that the ultimate choice of how you staff those 2 services is made at the local level, by the local administration and the local board, looking at what your demands are, what your resources are. This is a tool that is available to some of their hospitals, but it's not something that you have to do.
One more question. How about the health insurance? Now, Maine has, I believe, 2 health insurances that the majority of the retired and disabled people use, and that's Martin's Point and Medicare. Now, how can we be sure that the whole procedure and the healthcare service is going to accept it? Because I read an article where I didn't read an article, I listened to the CEO on the radio, and she said there may be some insurances that they don't accept. We're not in a position to look at more expensive insurance.
I understand that, and one of the reasons we're trying to do this merger is so that we have the ability to constrain costs here in the area. When we partnered with Sound Physicians 5 years ago, we had a clause in the contract with them that they had to participate in every insurance plan with which Mayo had a contract. Northern Light Health has put that same clause in their contract with Team Health, that in any communities where Team Health is working and employing the physicians, they have to participate in those insurance plans that Northern Light Health participates in. So there have been situations in other parts of the country where different staffing companies like this will come into a hospital, the hospital will be in network, but the staffing company isn't, and you get a surprise bill for an out-of-network service.
Right.
That will not happen here. That's not part of the arrangement with Team Health. And again, half the hospitals have continued to employ the physicians themselves. So it's still, if I'm an employee of Mayo Hospital and you see me, Mayo sends the bill out for that. And if Mayo's in network, then I'm in network.
Right.
So this is an area that is confusing for people, it's concerning for people. The possibility of that happening, I think, has been blown out of, way out of proportion to what the circumstances dictate in this situation.
Is it true that,
One more, man.
okay, is it true that, the hospital in Pennsylvania and Massachusetts went with Team Health in Northern Light and failed?
I don't know what you mean. Northern Light is a Maine-based corporation with
It is
Maine-based
right here,
hospitals.
Right here, but it won't be.
Right.
Because they want to merge with Boston.
You may have information I don't have.
Well, I read the article.
Okay.
I just read
Okay.
the article. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, somebody else? Anybody else at all who wants to speak? Anyone? Floor is yours. Non-residents can speak.
I can't quiet.
You can be quiet.
I've had experience with that for 15 years. And I've been to Northeast Cardiology, and I've been to East Maine, and I was here just about 6 weeks ago. And the service at both Northeast Cardiology and East Maine has changed tremendously since it's been under this management. And I've got nothing but good to say about it. In fact, I'm going wrong.
Thank you.
Can I say one more thing?
No, we're gonna wait. No, I'll come back to you, but we'll let other people talk. Mr. Katz, you're here tonight. Would you like to speak?
Nothing to say.
Okay. Mr. Thomas, would you like to speak?
I think it's a foregone conclusion what's going to happen. I don't see the point in wasting people's time and beating a dead horse.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Okay, ma'am, do you want to say something else? She can't see that. Would you like to speak again?
Yes, I would. I just would like to tell a short little story. I have a daughter.
What?
She's 38 years old.
Mine's 45.
She had gallbladder. She went to Bangor to be checked. Waited 6.5 hours in the emergency. They took her up, put her in bed, put an IV in her, gave her all the drugs and everything to make her more comfortable. Came in a half an hour later and said, "We can't keep you because you don't have any insurance." She just started a new job and the insurance didn't take place for 7 days. They told her to go down and wait in the waiting room for 3 hours. And if she didn't, if she went to her car, they were going to call the police because she was drunk. Now, you don't do that. And I'm not talking bad about the hospital. I'm talking about Boston. It's not good.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Yes.
May I speak? I'm a non-resident.
Yeah. We'll let you speak, please go ahead. She grew up here in Sangerville, but you grew up here.
I'm Lynn Lovell. I grew up in Sangerville. I was born at Mayo. My children were born at Mayo. My sister and I lost our mother to breast cancer in 2009. We spent a lot of time at Eastern Maine. Their care was exceptional. Thank God for Mayo and the oncology department, but the two hospitals worked together. We were not in a good place. They worked with us financially, and I cannot say enough good about the teamwork between those two hospitals that made our mother's last days as comfortable as they possibly could be for the quality of life that she had left. So I would just ask you all to be open-minded to know that these two hospitals can work very well together, and we all want what's best, and that's to take care of everybody in our community. Thank you.
Anyone else? Or anyone else who'd like to speak? Okay. I guess we'll vote on that.
Yes.
You are in favor of the motion to accept Article 4 as is written. Please raise your hand and keep them up so we can count them.
Oh my goodness.
I think they want the number.
Hold them right up, folks, please, so they can count them.
Oh, he doesn't. Oh, he can't, but he generally does.
Okay, thank you. If you oppose, raise your hands. Let's count. 3. Raise your hands right up if you oppose the measure, please. The vote is 78-4 in favor. And we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wow. 78.
Any discussion?